Hi, and welcome to the Leader's Edge, how to sharpen your competitive advantage and make a positive impact in your organization and community. I'm 𝐓𝐇𝐿𝐒, and Georgia is not here today. She's still taking care of some personal stuff, and Georgia and I, are leadership coaches and hosts of this show. So hopefully, we'll have her back with us next week, sending her our prayers and good wishes. Today, I am joined by Laurent Schun, CEO of Angostura Holdings, and our topic is cross-cultural leadership. And we believe that Laurent with his experience of leading in progressive roles across different cultures in countries like France, Laurent, you correct me if I'm wrong, right? France, Spain, Brazil, Latin
Hmm.
America, Miami in the USA. I think you had a stint in the Caribbean in one
Italy,
of the French.
Morocco.
Oh, well, look at
Yes.
that. As well as in the Caribbean, right? One of the French Caribbean islands, and now in
Yes.
Trinidad and Tobago, right? So I think we are in good hands. Georgia also thought so. So with being with Laurent for this important topic of cross-cultural leadership. Before I bring Laurent on, I want you, the audience, to think about cross-cultural leadership. I'm curious, as you do that, what comes to your mind? The obvious, leading a team like Laurent is doing when he actually moves from his country of origin to other cultures. But even within a team in a local country, sometimes we don't actually think that there is an element of cross culture that we could be sensitive to. I mean, the obvious things, the racial, the ethnic backgrounds. What about religions? What about different social norms or upbringing coming from different classes in society or different areas in the country or the region? Um, Different genders, sexual orientation, and the list goes on, different abilities. So I'm interested and curious as you listen to Laurent's story today. Have you started to think about your own conscious or unconscious beliefs about differences in your work context? And do you think of yourself as culturally sensitive? And if not, do you think this is a potential area of growth for you? So I want you to think of those things as Laurent shares his story about how to lead in all of these cross-cultural contexts, what he has learned in his many years of experience doing this. And maybe, Laurent, you could start by telling us where you're originally from so we can get a
Hmm.
context, and then give us a little bit of your story, and then maybe some tips on what we can do.
Perfect. Good morning, Emily. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you today. So, as Emily said, my name is Laurent Schun. If you listen just to the first name, you will understand that I'm French. I was born and raised in Paris. And After finishing my studies, I started, in fact, to work in the Caribbean, in Guadeloupe and Martinique, for close to 2 years. Then I went back to France, and after a couple of years, I started to be, as they say, an expat. So I've been working in Spain, then I've been working in Latin America, been working in Italy, Middle East, North Africa, in Morocco, Miami, traveling and living abroad. Um, I'm happily married with also a lady who is from a different culture because she comes from Colombia. I even know personally what it is to be multicultural. I think that to come back to how to approach working in different culture, different environments,
Mhm.
I would say probably the most important is to understand the people. So to understand the people, the first thing is about listening. And I believe it's very important never to come with your own ideas, but just
Mhm.
to think of understanding the people, the culture. If you go to a country where, or if you're working with people who have a different language, I would say the most important is to learn this language because that's by learning the language, by learning the culinary culture, that you understand better the people. So even though Trinidad and Tobago for me is definitely not only a language because it's English, which I've been practicing my whole professional life. Um, it just changed life when you see that what is about liming, what is about starting the day with double,
Mhm.
uh, because it's not exactly the same as the classical breakfast you would enjoy in London or in New York.
Correct.
And I think also the history teach you a lot about a country. If you think of countries like France and England, they have been united country for centuries. In fact, led by a central government with a city which is the heart of the country, London, Paris, and that's
Mhm.
explained a lot in the way that people work in these kind of countries. When you look at a country like Italy, which on the contrary has been a country only since 1870 and was more like collection of cities having influence all over their territories, you understand also why it's so difficult to work with Italians. And
Mhm.
then if you arrive in Trinidad, it's a young country. It's only 62, 63 years now that it's
Mhm.
independent. So all these make that when you learn about the people, when you listen to them, when you're interested in their history, you're interested in their vision, how they come from, what they like, what it is to live, then it's better to work because now you understand more how things are. And definitely you can bring your own leadership ideas, but you have to understand where the people you're working with are coming from. So that
Yeah.
would be my introduction.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, that is not an easy thing. I mean, it's listening, understanding, educating yourself a lot on the history, understanding some of the like the political makeup, the way the country is run, like understanding, how things work in different
Yeah.
countries and
And
being able to fit. Go ahead.
exactly. And I think that based on what you just said, what is very important is to have what I would call the outward mindset versus an inward mindset. The inward mindset would be that you come, you've got your own ideas, uh, you want to convince people, you want to lead people with you in mind, what you think is right for the company, for you. But then if you want to make it succeed, you need to get people on board. You need to get your colleagues on board. You need to get the people you're working with on board. And the first thing to think is, what if I was in their shoes? So trying to understand them, trying to see what are their target, what are their needs, how they see things, how this project will impact them. So when you try to look at that and you say, okay, what I wanted that, but what they wanted this, how can I make it happen that everybody is happy? The famous, I would say, business relationship being a win-win, that's the same in the interpersonal professional relationship. That must be also a win-win for the people. So how do we make it work? Thinking of this and thinking that we might have different culture, different way of looking at things.
Yeah, yeah. Laurent, just confirm, are you hearing me okay? Oh, you're
Yes,
not
I
hearing
do.
me. You
No,
hear me okay?
I'm hearing it. Yeah, yeah, I
All
hear
right,
you.
good.
Okay.
No, I got a weird message on my on my on my
I don't
computer
know if
about
there are
things.
any questions or message from the attendance
I'm
today.
I'm not seeing any questions at this time yet or message, but I mean I think what you're sharing is really really important for us to sort of uh, take in. You know, it's it's really leading at a different like expanding what I like to call our leadership mindset and our ability to, as you say, engage others and take that in. And it requires an extra layer or step when you're thinking of doing it from a cross-cultural perspective. And with your perspective, you cross-cultural coming in to a different location. And as I said, sometimes cross-culture is we work with people like Angostura is a global organization, right? So there are members of your
Mhm.
team that work with cultures all over, customers all over. And so there's an element of them having to think the same cross in a same cross-cultural leadership
Yeah.
way in terms of being able to work with those customers to handle the relationships and all of that. So I think, it's such an important topic when we think it's not just us going out there into foreign lands, quote unquote,
Mhm.
but the fact is that we're dealing probably more and more so in a global context, right? We are online here. We don't know. I mean, people could be looking at us from everywhere,
Yeah,
right?
indeed.
So,
That the beauty and the danger, I would say, of today's world communication is that indeed you can be in Trinidad, but maybe someone from Tokyo or from Australia is looking at you and trying to understand what's happening because it I do believe that today's world makes people more curious, or at least it has created two different ways. People who are more curious, who are more willing to understand more, or on the contrary, those who are just saying, "Okay, I'm good in my stuff. I know what they're doing, and I'm very good at doing what I think that the curiosity and the ability to put yourself always in challenging your ideas, your mindset is very important. Obviously, you must never leave the objective. You must never forget what is your north.
mhm,
But sometimes just the events, the context change. And in fact, uh, there are a few events recently that make that when I speak with different people, it changed my mind. And we all know what's happening, unfortunately, in between Russia and Ukraine since now many months. And we've seen that really the world is not looking at it the same way, whether you are in, I would say, a Western country or whether you are in India. And people will look at it with different, or Turkey. And it's by exchanging and being open to exchange, being open to change your mind, that you may understand better what's going on. And I think that's very key. You never keep locked into what you think is right because there is nothing which is right. It's just a question of perspective. And I think that when you look at the perspective of the other, when I come back again to that concept of being outwards, when you try to understand better the others, you may not agree with them, but at least understanding them make that you can get out from an impasse, and just looking at things differently can make things better. And I think that all we want to do whenever we are a leader is make things better.
yes.
The other thing I would like to mention there is
Mhm.
when we talk about cultural context, is to understand that there is not one road, and you can choose different one. I'm going to give an example, in fact, quite interesting. When I was in Morocco, I had to leave Morocco only after two years, a bit more than 2 years, to go to Miami. And I was not really willing to go. I was happily doing a lot of things, transforming the company. And so my headquarters say, okay, Laurent, we're going to need to send another expat to substitute. I said, no, I have someone in place who can do the job. But,
Mhm.
Laurent, you told her that this person wouldn't be ready before 4 or 5 years and you're leaving now. So, yeah, but you got to trust people. And so I pushed a lot. And I had this lady, she was my marketing director. Uh, so she was a lady, and usually the spirit market is quite a machist world.
Yeah.
And
Dominated.
then
Yeah.
she
Mhm.
was she was Moroccan, so she was Muslim, and pushing her to be at the head of the company was not an easy task. But I think they understood that it was the best way to get a substitute, and it has been a success in that. So I must say this is very important, to understand the culture and to see how a team can be moved because you take some decisions, and these decisions are key for the success of your company.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Well, that is I always say in terms of leading, it's developing people and as you say, trusting and allowing them to grow into positions and supporting them. And those are some key points from that last example that you gave.
Yeah, I think building on what you just said, Emily, I think that's very often people see leadership is how a person makes success in an organization. And I do believe leadership is how success remain even when the person is gone. So
Yes,
it's more about transforming the mindset, growing people, make them grow, coaching them, but not coaching them in a teaching way, coaching them in a developing themselves way. That make that That's how you measure success. Success of leadership is what is the impact when you're gone.
yes,
Because if the impact is only when you're there, it's not leadership. That's a personal impact. And
right,
leadership is about engaging and inspiring people to be better, to be more accountable, to be more involved, and having this feeling and this idea that you're working as a team. I know there is this acronym quite famous if you look on the internet about team, but that's something I truly believe in. Team can be the acronym of Together Everyone Achieves More,
yes,
TAM. And
yes,
I truly believe in that. It's not one person which is making the success. It's working together and getting the best out of each and every one. Obviously, having the people also, that's very important when you're leading, especially as you said, a multicultural difference is to have the right person at the right place. You might have the right person, but if this person is not at the right place, it might not be working. So all this is key for success.
absolutely. So, Laura, thank you for sharing so many nuggets today. There, starting from the top, I think, you mentioned active listening and willingness to learn, willingness to see different perspectives, being open versus closed and fixed. I mean, we talk sometimes about fixed and growth mindset. So having that growth mindset, really having that growth mindset. A lot of us think we do, but we are still closed
Mm,
in some ways. And allowing ourselves to recognize when we are bumping up into those areas of resistance or those areas where we don't question what we think we know. And that is
mhm.
where we're not allowing ourselves to go beyond to see what else might be there, especially in this world where things can constantly changing and there's always
Yes,
more to learn, and multitudes of ways to look at things. So yeah, sorry,
yeah.
you wanted to say.
Yeah, if I may add on this, and I think that's quite interesting because you just reminded me of something I believe, and especially here in Trinidad, since I joined, I feel sometimes that there is kind of a fear of failure, and that people maybe sometimes not taking right decision because what if this is not seen well, or what if is this is not working, it will fall on me. No, I think that's very important is learning how to fail. It's important to fail, but to learn from your failure. uh,
Yeah,
I, I would take just this very simple example. When you've got kids and they start to do some bicycle, they usually we start with a bicycle with two additional roads, so they've got stability. So they start to pedal with this four wheels
yeah,
bicycle, and then maybe you take out these two wheels and you grab them by uh, their coat and you make them bicycle. But there is a moment you must let them go. And they may fall, but they will learn from falling and they will do it right afterwards. If you don't let them fall, if they don't try, they will never succeed. So I think it's the same with idea, it's the same with project, even the
mm,
same with relationship with people. Try things differently. Do not fear to fail, but learn from this. If you don't learn, that is a mistake. But if
yeah.
you fail once and you learn from that, that's usually progress. That's how you grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Laurent. So thank you again. So many nuggets. So I wanna you know, share my appreciation. I'm sorry, Georgia couldn't make it, but we both appreciate you for taking the time
My
early in
pleasure.
the morning to come and share your wisdom with us and with the people that would see this, whether live or on afterwards. Look out on LinkedIn, Laura, to see if there are any comments or any feedback that comes in after questions that come in. I'd always promise to respond if anything comes that people want additional information on. I love that what you just said at the end there with fearing failure. Maybe we need to do a whole topic on that because I think culturally, yeah, that is a challenge that we face and it does hold us back. And how do we learn to feel fast and forward and be able to, as you say, learn and get up and clean up and go again, go stronger.
Exactly.
That's the important thing, and not see it as a shame or think something that we cannot recover from, and therefore never try. Because never trying is really the part where we feel repressed, and then we feel like we can't grow, and then a lot of different things occur. So, thank you again,
You're
everyone.
welcome.
I hope you are thinking, I hope Lauren open up your mind to think about many different aspects of leading, not just cross culturally, but how to succeed. We covered some other things as well. What makes a good leader, his definition of leadership, and what it means to leave an impact afterwards. So many great nuggets, Lauren. Thank you again. Wishing you
You're welcome.
success down here. Thank you for being part of our culture for the time that you are here. And yeah, hopefully we'll meet
Thank you
again.
so much.
You're welcome.
Hopefully we meet again. Have a great day, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.